Okay. Welcome everyone. I would like to call the Tuesday, October 1st, 2024 meeting of the Bolton Conservation Commission to order, and pursuant to the amendment of Bill H3548 and Governor Healy's signing of such amendment into law in March of 2023, expressing certain provisions of the open meeting law. This public meeting of the Town of Bolton Conservation Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but the public can access this meeting while in progress by Zoom Video Communications, Inc. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment by telephone, cell phone, or personal computer using Zoom. Some guidelines for participants. Please utilize the chat or raise hand function if you wish to address the board. Participants will remain on mute until they've been addressed by the board, and participants are required to display their first and last names. All that said, per tradition, we'll start with a roll call of present members. I am Brian Barabee.
Paul Brandwold.
Jim Garrity.
Excellent. And first up this evening, the Bolton Conservation Commission will now continue the public meeting under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bolton Bylaw, Chapter 233, to consider a notice of intent filed for 279 West Berlin Road, Shartner Farms. And I believe, if we recall from last meeting, we were waiting for DEP comments before we could really continue the meeting. And Lauren, if I'm correct, we still have not received comment.
That's correct. And we received an email from the representative of the project asking for a continuation to next meeting.
Okay. That said, and understanding that, I'd like to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for 279 West Berlin Road until our next public meeting, Tuesday, October 15th at 7:10 p.m. Do I hear a second for continuing?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Paul?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
All right. And Brian, Sam actually just logged on, so she could also vote for that as well. Oh, excellent. Actually, she might have just dropped back off the call. So, okay. So she's not here for that. That's okay.
Okay. Do we believe she is logging back on?
I'm not sure. I don't see her name yet.
Okay.
I know sometimes she has tech issues, so we'll see if she comes back.
I completely understand. Trying to think what we can cross off the agenda in the interim. To Paul and Jim, have you had a chance in the packet to see the open space and rec plan that was submitted for 2024?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Rebecca was asking if we'd consider voting to issue a letter of support for the open space and rec plan. I think we've done this with the last open space and rec plan. I see no reason why we wouldn't do it for this one. If you guys are comfortable, I'll probably ask for a roll call vote to approve sending a letter in support of the 2024 open space and rec plan.
Okay.
Good. Yep.
In that case, I'm like to put in for a roll call vote, and I vote meaning that commission members are in favor of issuing a letter of support for the open space and recreation plan of 2020, the Bolton open space and recreation plan of 2024. All those in favor of issuing such a letter, please say aye, starting with Paul.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Thank you. And Sam is back on.
Hi, Sam. How are you?
I'm good. Sorry about that. I did something funny and booted myself off.
These things happen. I hope you were in favor of us issuing a letter to support the open space and rec plan of 2024.
Yes, I am.
That is excellent. Okay. In that case, I could jump to minutes real quick. Did everybody have a chance to look at the September 17th, 2024 meeting minutes? If so, any corrections, edits, changes? If not, does anybody need any more time to look at such said minutes? All right. See everybody not hearing anything. I'm going to make a motion that we approve the minutes for our September 17th, 2024 meeting as drafted and submitted at this evening's meeting. Do I hear a second for minutes approval?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, starting with Paul,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Sam,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
All right, thank you.
Let's just see if we can jump to. All right, we have another 4 minutes still. Lauren,
Yes,
would you want to pull up the Forest Legacy Program?
sure.
Well, the existing goals for the Forestry Legacy Program. God, if I
Sure.
could say that. Okay. Let's pull.
All right, can you see that?
Yep. Let's see. Yes. Could you blow it up a little bit?
Sure. How's that?
Much better. All right.
Yeah, it's just the 5.
I'm looking for my notes on this. All right. So these were the stated goals the last time when we first started with the Forest Legacy Management Program, which has kind of been ongoing. Rebecca wanted us to take a look and make sure these goals are still appropriate, that we still feel that they're appropriate. But also in considering the Forest Legacy Management Program, she was looking at applying for a forest stewardship planning grant funding opportunities. And she was asking if we'd be comfortable taking a vote this evening that we are in favor of her applying for the forest stewardship planning grant, or at least looking into and following up on the forest stewardship planning grant opportunities, funding opportunities. Are members comfortable with kind of these stated goals? It's kind of in its infancy, this program. We're hoping the planning grant will help bring it a little bit more to fruition. She thinks we have a shot at some of the possible funding opportunities, and she's willing to put in the work if we do get the funds. So she's kind of looking for us to authorize her moving forward on this. Again, I see no reason why we shouldn't authorize her going forward with this. I'm comfortable. I know they're not the most in-depth goals, but for general goals, I'm comfortable with where these stand.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious if others feel differently.
When were these put together, Brian? I don't remember looking at this before.
This was probably about 6 years ago, Paul.
Oh, well, that explains it.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID, which is kind of how I break things up. So it was probably a year or so before that. It was probably about a year after Rebecca started, and I can't even remember when that is exactly right now.
And so Brian, I just want to, sorry, Paul, I just want to mention that this vote is just for the beginning stages of even creating a plan. So any implementation that would come back to Concom to do another vote later on.
Oh, okay. So because that was kind of my next question is like, have we done anything to implement these goals or follow these guidances yet? But sounds like
this is just the beginning stages to even create a plan at all.
I got you. I recommend we move a little faster than what's been going on in the past. But
yes, yeah, no, this was the definite next step, and I think it was a bandwidth issue more than anything else.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to have her continue moving forward with it. I know she's got some ideas on it, but hopefully she'll have a chance to hit some of these.
I think it would be great if we could get some funding.
Okay. So. All right. In that case, and Sam, I'm taking it you're not opposed. Jim, it doesn't look like you're opposed. All right. In that case, I'm going to call for a roll call vote for members. All those in favor, please say aye of instructing our conservation agent to go ahead and apply for related forest stewardship planning grant funding opportunities to pursue. Let me try this again. I'm going to call for a roll call vote that we instruct our agent to pursue any related forest stewardship planning grant funding opportunities. All those in favor of her doing so, or us instructing her to do so, please say aye, starting with Paul.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well. And I think that said, it brings us to the next spot in our agenda, in which the Bolton Conservation Commission will now continue the public hearing under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bolton Bylaw, Chapter 233, to consider the notice of intent filed by the Bolton Conservation Agent for work to be done at the Bowers Springs Conservation Area off Flanagan Road. An update on this, we were waiting for DEP comments. They did get comments back to us, and Rebecca did respond to them. I believe the most recent update should be in everybody's packet. Lauren, we're up to date on everything, right? With her
Yep,
responses.
that's
Sorry,
correct.
I'm looking in my packet right now to make sure.
Yep, responses have been submitted back to DEP.
Okay. Did any commission members have any comments, questions, or concerns with our answers to DEP or with the project moving forward as we had basically laid it out prior to getting DEP comments? And I'm seeing none. Any members of the public here tonight to comment on this particular hearing? Again, seeing none. In that case, I'm going to make a motion that we close the public hearing for the notice of intent for Bowers Springs. Do I hear a second for closing?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Paul.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Sam.
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Okay.
Gonna make a motion that we issue an order of conditions for the work at Bowers Springs Conservation Area, based off the most recent updates as submitted today, and is drafted and submitted at the overall plan is drafted and submitted at our prior meeting. All those in favor of issuing an order of conditions, please say
Sorry,
aye.
Brian.
Oh, go ahead, Lauren.
We do have the list of conditions.
Oh my gosh,
that I can read out loud.
That is
like.
Yes, and we had planned to, and I just completely forgot. So prior to anybody seconding that motion or even thinking about that motion, Lauren, if you wouldn't mind reading through the conditions that we currently have set for that particular project.
Sure, just gonna pull it up.
You.
Yep. Okay, so this project is subject but not limited to the following conditions. It is a limited project under 310 CMR 10.51 through 10.60 due to its beach-like characteristics. A temporary leash requirement shall be enforced on site for the duration of the project. The conservation agent shall post notifications on the town-approved websites and/or properties at least 7 days prior to the commencement of work. Resource areas and their impact shall be as follows: 5 feet of bank, 95 feet beach, 100 square foot buffer, 500 square foot adjacent upland resource area, 100-foot prohibition area, 25 feet from the BVW. Bordering land subject to flooding alteration shall be avoided at maximum extent practicable. 1 foot from adjacent bank location is the maximum lateral extent of observed water. Therefore, prior to the commencement of work, the agent shall mark off with the contracted party 1 foot from the bank to confirm the limit of work on site. Sand shall be added at a maximum quantity of 4 cubic yards over the existing sand area outside of the BLSF aforementioned. Loam shall be added at a maximum quantity of 2 cubic yards adjacent to the sand area and trail edge. Surplus material of loam and sand from the aforementioned quantities shall be placed on site within the upland, away from the pond and wetland areas, location to be determined by the conservation agent prior to placing the material. This project is not located within Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program priority nor estimated habitat. Jute netting and wattle shall be utilized on site. Final stabilization shall take place through the use of New England Wetland Plants, Inc. seed mix, appropriate to the existing site conditions and habitat, and snow fencing shall be in place for visibility and deterrence of utilizing work area during the 2 growing seasons required for full stabilization.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right. So I'd like to make a motion that we issue the order of conditions for Bowers Springs as drafted and submitted with the conditions listed by our land use administrative assistant, Lauren, so eloquently. Do I have a second for issuing said order of conditions?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, starting with Paul?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Great. Thank you.
How are we on time? A few minutes left.
Yep.
Well, I can say quickly that regarding our enforcement orders, 31 Manor Road, 146 Hudson Road, and I believe 100 and Meadow Road are still moving towards compliance. I know they had some questions for Rebecca. She's been getting back to them with answers to their questions, but as far as we know, they're moving towards compliance. As far as I know Century Mill Estates, there is no updates, and I don't believe there are any updates for 100 East End Road either at this time. And I can also point out now that we do have 2 open spots on the Bolton Conservation Commission for everyone who is interested. And we do have our volunteer land steward position, shockingly, still available. Anybody who is interested in either or can reach out to the Conservation Department or actually the town clerk at Town Hall. Anybody at Town Hall will get you to the right place if you're looking to volunteer or even find out more information. See what else.
Brian, I will bring up at the next meeting on the 15th, there is going to be a request for a certificate of compliance for 38 Long Hill Road. I just wanted to check with the commission members to see if anyone was interested in attending a site visit with the conservation agent for that project. If so, I can reach out to you all tomorrow to schedule that. So I just wanted to see if there was any interest. And that was it was the construction of a single family home with gravel driveway access, well, septic system, associated grading, and driveway constructed with pervious pavers. And the project included full mitigation of disturbance within the resource areas. So does anyone have interest in the next couple weeks in attending a site visit?
I was to say I do, but you know, it's got to be on you or Rebecca's schedule. So no guarantees I'll be able to make it, but if you do let me know when and where, if I can make it, I'd love to attend.
Yeah, same here. Like, curious about the process. So is this a site visit before they propose an NOI or anything else?
So this is just for the certificate of compliance. So they've already done the project. We just want to close it out. So we figured if we can do the site visit ahead of next meeting, then you could take a vote at that meeting instead of meeting.
When did we vote on that project? I don't remember that either. Was that?
I think that was done in 2020, and then because of pandemic, there was an extension for them to be able to finish the project. So they have until, I believe, the end of this month to request the certificate of compliance. So they're almost expired now.
That would be a good opportunity if people are around, anybody's around. It's great. Rebecca usually will do the site visit for the COC. She does a very detailed site visit report. We have no problem voting off that. But if anyone's curious to see what her process is when she goes out on location, how she checks through everything, just as that oversight that we do, that I think, it'd be a great idea. I was like, I'd love to get out with you for a COC once or twice. So we'll just put it out there for everyone. Because, you like getting in people's backyards and walking around in the mud a little bit. It's all sorts of fun.
So I'll just include everyone on that email if that's okay. And you can let me know if you want to attend.
Sounds good.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Looks like we're good on time. All right. So the Bolton Conservation Commission will now continue the public hearing under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bolton Bylaw, Chapter 233, to consider the notice of intent filed for 12 Green Road, Neshoba Regional High School. Phase 2, I should say, project. Lauren, is the applicant or a rep for the applicant here this evening?
Yep, we have Eric Royce, Joe Milani, Marianne Williams, Chelsea Christensen right here.
Okay. Hello, all. I know last time we were waiting to hear from DEP comments. Oh, not DEP. We were waiting on the peer review. There were questions that came off the peer review. I believe we've gotten answers to all of those questions. It was in our packet. I know that some of the back and forth. It looks like we covered all of what the questions we had. The one place where there's still some question, I believe possibly, is the aura set. There's that one area where basically you're kind of doing a paved roadway through the aura. And I believe it said you're restoring the aura to the original conditions, but because you're proposing a paved road through, it's not going to be able to restore it to the original conditions. It looked like you were proposing some mitigation to make up for that fact, which I believe would work. And again, we'll kind of put that to the commission, kind of walk everybody through that. I guess the big question for me would be, well, I suppose I should get into that, what the mitigation was. If you were proposing, let me see, you were proposing the removal of invasive growth and sediment debris at the existing stormwater outfall, which I believe would work for mitigation. But I guess my question would be, in doing that, are you going to have to increase your limit of work for that area?
Yes, that would be the caveat with that, is we would have to get into the wetlands area or the ARA area a little bit more.
Yep.
Right now it's overgrown with Japanese knotweed and bittersweet. It's almost impassable unless you've got a machete with you. So we're proposing to remove that and restore that area in lieu of providing impervious surface for the pavement. Okay. Which we kind of question the advisability of that also.
And that's kind of what we saw as what the other option would be. And I'll put it out to the commission in a minute to see, their questions, thoughts, regardless of comments on those aspects. The one thing that I would say is that, if that paved section, if you were to switch to a permeable surface, which I know is not what you'd want to do, I think it's something that we could condition and close tonight. The mitigation you're proposing, I think, would work for us. It seemed fine to me. I could understand it. But because it's increasing the limit of work, we'd want to see that on an actual plan submitted before we could vote on it. That's my thing. And I think all the other questions, like I said, that came out of the peer review, you answered. It all made sense. We were fine with the plans up until that point. That's the one place that I really still have a question, that we may need additional plans for that.
We are more than willing to work actively with the commission to identify that area in the field and do it. If that's a condition you can approve, we would be happy to do that. We've been in front of the commission since May, so we're a little bit anxious to get something resolved tonight. So if that's possible, we'd like to do it.
Yeah, and like I said, if for us to resolve it tonight, you'd have to kind of go with the permeable surface through the paved area of the aura, because that is within the current limit of work, and we could condition that. If we're extending the limit of work, we're gonna need to see that on a plan before we can really approve it.
With the OPM on the call also, I would ask Mary Ann what her opinion was about doing that. I think I want to point out that there is already paved surface within the aura. We're increasing that amount of paved surface with the corner of the roadway that's going around our building. It's not a roadway going through it, but it's the edge of the roadway that's bridging into the aura. But there is already paved surface going in there. The reason that we were considering that the capturing of the groundwater on the roadway was an improvement was because at this moment the water from the parking lot that's there sheets into the wetland along that edge, and all that oil-laden water is flowing into the wetland untreated. By having the roadway capture the water that's on that limited part of the roadway and treat it before it goes released into the wetland, we thought that was better than having the permeable surface that would then go through the roadway and then directly into the groundwater into the wetland. That was our line of thought. We can certainly provide permeable surface in that area if that moves us forward. But we, as a group, could discuss this, and we thought that this was a better solution to that condition and relieving the condition that exists.
I guess the one thing I would point out with the area that part of it's already paved, it calls for restoring it to the aura to the original condition, not the pre-existing condition. So the original condition would be unpaved, which is kind of what not threw us on that one, but I think was a bit of why we thought the water treatment over it was not necessarily proper enough mitigation. And that's kind of why we were looking for a permeable surface.
Totally
or the other mitigation that you were proposing, basically.
Yeah, totally up to you. I think as Eric said, as a group, and I think Mary Ann will agree with me, we'd like to move this forward. And if having the permeable surface and not increasing the area of the project would be the way to go, then that's what we would put forward.
Okay, and well, I'll throw it to Miriam. If is she comfortable? Is that how she would like to proceed?
Mary Ann's the owner's representative. Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree with Joe. I mean, we're trying to do all the right things here, and
Okay.
but because we've been before the commission since May, we're becoming concerned because we actually have a foundation permit that's tied up with this, and it's becoming a time issue about holding up work. And we thought that what was proposed was the better solution, but certainly.
Okay. I understand. Look, we had to wait for a peer review to get in. That peer
Right.
review comes in, and again, I didn't schedule the peer review. No, I had nothing to do with that timeline. When it comes in, we ask questions. As soon as we get the answers to those questions back, we're ready to move forward. But those questions led to this one last thing. Well, as far as I know, one last thing. Everything that's been discussed in our public meetings before, we're not looking to change any of that. That's all kind of been approved. This is just what's coming out of the questions that as soon as we got them, we asked our questions. As soon as we got the answers, we're a couple of days later here, we're in a meeting. So as far as the timeline goes, I think we've been more than fair. It's exactly what needs to happen. So, and again, I'm fine with the conditions we have and doing that section of the aura in a permeable pavement or some sort of permeable solution to that. But I need to put it out to the other commission members. Other commission members have thoughts, comments, questions? Not everybody relatively comfortable with the plan. I know it's in your packets, the questions, the responses. Okay. Yeah. So in that case, gonna make a motion that we close the hearing for sorry, hold on one second. make a motion that we close the hearing for 12 Green Road, the Neshoba Regional High School Phase 2 plan. Do I hear a second for closing?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, starting with Paul,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Sam,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Okay.
Going to make a motion that we issue an order of conditions for 15 Green Road and Neshoba Regional High School, as drafted and submitted with the following conditions. First, in the area of the Aura, where there's a proposed paved road going through the Aura, that the paving of that road will be done with a permeable surface, so that groundwater can fully infiltrate underneath. And also the conditions listed before. And Lauren, are you possible? Could you possibly read off those conditions?
Sure. 1 minute.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. And actually, before I do so, can the team just confirm that the latest plan date, the revision date, is 9/18/24?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong.
It's okay. While Lauren is looking up the conditions, just a reminder to the applicants that regardless of what we vote on tonight, any changes, large or small, to these to the plans or how you're proposing to do things need to come before the commission.
Understood.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Okay, I have it ready here. Okay, so this project is subject but not limited to the following conditions. There shall be no increase in impervious surface in the Aura without adequate mitigation. Previously untreated and unmitigated stormwater discharges to the BVW shall be captured, treated, and infiltrated in accordance with Mass Stormwater Standards, associated designs specified within the aforementioned final approved plans. There shall be no alteration to freshwater seeps. No seep shall be covered over or redirected. Freshwater seeps boundaries shall be determined between March 21st and June 21st and when overall precipitation conditions are normal. Work within the 100-foot buffer and adjacent upland resource area shall be limited to 3,090 square feet of paved vehicular access road adjacent to the proposed building. Actually, I think that changes with the condition that you had just mentioned.
That will become pervious surface.
Right. Okay. Yep. So impervious vehicular access road adjacent to the proposed building, placement of new sewer and drainage utilities, landscaping of a new infiltration swale, and restoration of disturbed areas to original condition. 3 test pits proposed on site are located within an existing building and have yet to be conducted. The 3 test pits associated with SSIS 4, 5, and 6 shall be conducted immediately following demolition of the associated existing structure. Site work shall cease and desist during this time to allow for review by the Conservation Commission and DEP Central Regional Office. Should the tests result in information that may alter the existing plans, an amended order of conditions shall be required to be submitted. The Bolton Conservation Commission shall determine what components of the project, if any, may continue on site during this time. Sidewalks along the roadway frontage shall be constructed within this order of conditions by the applicant's contractor. Sidewalks shall be completed by December 31st, 2025. Erosion and sediment control shall be surveyed on site during installation specific to the final approved plans dated 9/18/2024. Stockpiling and staging areas shall be confirmed during the pre-construction site visit if not already identified on final approved plans. Massachusetts stormwater standards shall be adhered to, along with adherence to the NPDES Stormwater Construction General Permit. The related stormwater pollution prevention plan for construction activities shall be incorporated as part of the order of conditions. Long-term pollution prevention plan and operation and maintenance plan shall be included as part of this order. This shall be a condition in perpetuity. Best management practices shall be used to mitigate potential changes of runoff, promote infiltration, and provide water quality treatment, and no filling of wetland resource areas shall take place.
Excellent. Do I hear a second for issuing the order of conditions with those conditions added, or is there a question first from Eric?
Yes,
Yeah.
I had a question. We're obviously going to have to revise the plans to show that pervious pavement. I don't know how that works into the dates of the plans that you work with, but we will do that and then give you a record set. That's going to have a different revision date for that change. So just so we're all clear on that.
So we cannot accept new material once this hearing is closed.
We do require an as-built at the end, basically.
That's true.
And I was going to say, if it's on updated plan, it's almost like a field amendment going forward. Not that it would be a field amendment, but because we issued it within these orders, even though we did not have it on a map, if it shows up on future maps, I think we're fine with that. And I think we're still covered that the as-built is going to show it at the end.
As long as you're comfortable with that, yeah.
Yeah, because like Lauren said, we can't take new information in now, but based on everything as it was issued tonight, we would expect to see map revisions, and we would be comfortable with that particular one.
Very good.
Okay. So do I hear a second for issuing the order of conditions with those conditions as listed?
Second.
All right. All those in favor, starting with Paul?
Aye.
Jim?
Aye.
Sam?
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you all. And
Thank
again,
you.
just a reminder, any other revisions, large or small, please just run them by Rebecca.
Understood.
It's better safe than sorry on those. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yep.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. I think we've gotten through most of the agenda.
With the budget discussion.
Oh yeah. Should bring that up. So doing our good old 2025 budget is coming up. Sorry. Sorry, I lost my agenda for a minute.
Oh, aren't we already in 25, or is it just starting October?
Fiscal, we are currently in fiscal 2025. And Lauren, are you able to screen share where we stand with the FY 2025 budget?
Sure.
And basically, Paul and Sam, for that matter, in talking with Rebecca, it looks like we are on target to spend down our budget. It goes to fiscal year goes to the end of June. So July 1 of next year will be our next fiscal year. Here we go. So
okay,
Rebecca,
and this says 24, but it should say 25.
That's right.
Okay.
This is the 25, even though it says 24. It was a template issue. Basically, Rebecca wanted to get us a chance to have everybody take a look to see we're basically on target with what we had plotted out for this year, and to start thinking about what we may be looking at next year. Before, like when we do get into those discussions, I'll probably ask Rebecca to join us that evening to give us kind of rundown on what she foresees. I'm sure she can submit some of that to us too. Some of this was in here. Like I know equipment was the purchase of the new brush hog. That line will probably come back down this year because we're not looking at any major equipment like that. Some of the land maintenance lines are based off, I believe, Henderson Stryker, who we contract to do a number of our conservation properties. If he's true to everything else in this economy, his prices might be going up. We always review what properties he does. Do we need to add a property, subtract, kind of look at that and give her some ideas. And Rebecca will have usually an idea of what projects might be coming up. I will say, though, Rebecca is really good, and we have an update coming on some of our trail maintenance and updates at finding grant funding opportunities. So oftentimes, if there is a project we're doing, there is an underlying grant that's actually funding it, and it's a small amount of either capital improvement or equipment we're needing to purchase. But just to try to start taking a look at this and getting an idea on what we might want to do next year, and also just in good governance way, just so, we take a look at this at a public meeting and we can see where we stand with this year's budget and that we kind of are on track to spend it all down. Lauren, go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I was going to say, Lauren, it would be helpful if you showed a little more history too when we do this, like maybe 23, 24, and 25, just so we see where we're going, what direction we're heading, because I think we had a couple of items that were a little higher this year than we'd had in the past because of specific projects. So they may, like Brian said, they may fall off, but maybe there's other things we would like to add. So it would be interesting to see kind of what our trends are.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get that from Rebecca. I'm sure she has the previous years listed.
It's a good point, Paul. Help us to see our static lines too, the ones that don't really change from year to year. No, I was going to say, Sam, did you have a comment too or question?
Yeah, I've got a question about some of the grant money that we've had historically. Is there a way for us to be able to get that information too? Because that is, although, certain projects, that's going to require operation and maintenance costs potentially, depending on what we're talking about. So that would be really helpful as well, if you don't mind, Lauren.
Sorry, Sam, I missed the first part. So the grant funding is the history of that. Is that what you're asking for?
Yeah, I'm just to get a better understanding of some of the big capital projects that have happened. And if we are going to need, more funding in the future in order to maintain some of those capital things that we have had grants to use in the past that we might not be able to use in the future.
Sure. Okay. Yep, I can look into that too.
Thank you.
Yep.
Other initial questions, comments, thoughts? Okay. So, yeah, Lauren, that would be great if you could pull together that information and also bug Rebecca about it. And I can talk to her too about trying to figure out a good future meeting where she can kind of come on and walk us through what she foresees for next year, what she would like to request for next year.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
Excellent. So along with that, I will say, when it comes to the trail stewardship projects and some of the authorized projects that we have, the Freedom's Way National Heritage Area Partnership Grant has been awarded to the town of Bolton for the pop-up arboreta and signage and wayfinding improvements at Rattlesnake Conservation Area. The grant pays for required signage and the materials necessary for both of those projects. And we're required to match, but we can match in kind. So we're matching in kind with staff and volunteer hours utilized for the physical installation. So these should both be completed by the end of July next year. But that was one way in which we were able to leverage grant money to do some necessary trail maintenance. And basically our only cost was the volunteer hours. But to Sam's point, you could see maintenance going down the line, especially with, some of the trail signage over the years. And I think that was the last update I had this evening. Lauren, is there anything that I missed?
I'm looking through. I don't see anything else. I think we got it all.
All right. Commission members have any new business, any comments, questions, things they would like to discuss? Saying none. I'm going to make a motion that we hereby adjourn the Tuesday, October 1st, 2024 meeting of the Bolton Conservation Commission. Do I hear a second for adjourning?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Paul?
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Sam,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you all very much. Have a
Thank you
lovely
all.
couple of weeks. Talk to you soon enough.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks. Good night.